So, can we here observe more of this motion of the management, so called, of disorder? It's surprising to see it in a light that doesn't cast it either conspiratorially or um, quite like the light of the so-called unconscious bias, in a theory which removes all human being from the considerations. But it would seem to move like this. If you have a society with a despot who, let's say, if there's a few murders, he simply has executed that number of people, or maybe twice as many for good measure, and then he says all crimes of any seriousness have been punished, duly punished. So, order of the most primitive kind. Then you never get the innovation, right? Because people can't move out of their spaces, and then you have, so perhaps several thousand years of the Egyptian civilization was something like that. We should attempt to remove from our mind the notion that that's bad. Why would it be bad? Or do we have to do that? I don't know. Do we have to go through the step of trying to be neutral? And is that itself a prejudice? Or can we somehow, is it better simply to say what strikes us immediately as being the case? That's difficult because somehow both things are within us, and also the mock neutrality, if it's only mock neutrality, is something we can hold before ourselves as a small tableau vivant and look at. So it all seems to be flowing together in some sense. And in other sense, what is it we're really asked to do here by Gelassenheit or by releasement? What position are we supposed to allow to arise in this case? That being as it may, let's look at these two positions that I was saying were in the sky. So the one, maximizing productivity, which then would also mean all this kind of Peter Thiel kind of stuff, talk about all kinds of wild advancements, Elon Musk and boy wonder stuff and so forth, as the London Financial Times put it in one of their articles. And on the other side, this notion of the politics as a safe word, meaning the benefit of that union, which is for the sake of attempting to perfectly benefit all its members more and more perfectly. So understanding politics like that, it means following these as principles, which is to say as guiding rules which even grant us this liberty in order to move towards the real transformation that they that they imply by the possibility of their perfection. So that's a very full-throated sense of the power of a principle, that it would hoist itself over the activity of all beings in the country, and not even as a duty, because one is not even aware of the notion of duty, as which would be contrasted with what we would not even understand. The duty would just be a duty. So taking things up this way, we can see the ferociousness of the dispute over principles, or what it could come to. But in some way, this is this fight of the intellect and the philosophical schools over the question of why we have been, as human beings, prolonging our stay here, our sojourn. So far as this sort of question ceases to be persuasive, not to say cogent, totally different senses of what a principle is come in, and notions of what life is for. So in this sense, we think of the different historical ideas, as Jung spoke about the movement of the ideas across the centuries. In this sense, Heidegger points to Dilthey's work on the significance of generational consciousness in coming to a historical consciousness. Again, so in this reflection, I think we can see something of the subtle nuances that come into any attempt to enter into these stream of thought of a Heideggerian position, as it would come into some kind of confluence with the I don't know, these almost Freudian, Stendhalian, Salvador Dalian forces, which Nietzsche has somehow already accrued to himself, so that this Nietzschean attempt to undermine any philosophic gravity, one point, one principle, comes into this: I'm not going to go against this Heidegger position. He's not going to try to take down Nietzsche's thesis through some kind of thrusting or grappling, or through some kind of masquerade of that sort, but rather he tries to calm himself as much as possible into this Gelassenheit, and just let be, as he says, and just see what is it that is in every individual Dasein as they are in this history, which they're all in, and which is guiding them all, and which they all have their beings in. He tries to not observe that as an object, but to somehow sense the play of it,